You ever have a subject where you're excited to talk about it, but then you know that no matter what you say, something bad's gonna happen? Yup, this is me. You're probably wondering how I wound up in this situation. Sorry, I'm just interjecting very quickly to point out that after I shot this video, Tesla changed a bunch of things about the Model S. So I'm driving a P100D, it's now called the Performance model, and then there's also a standard range and long range version under that. They also changed the pricing, so everything's a little bit cheaper across the board than it used to be. So if I mention pricing, just ignore that. Okay, back to the other Micah now. Oh hey look, it's a Tesla Model S over my left shoulder. Let's take a look, shall we? It's been a few years since I've driven a Model S. The fundamentals haven't changed. Maybe I'll just blast through some of the essentials and then we can get to what's new. So the door handles, as I walk closer, let's see what happens here. You know, that was supposed to pop out. Maybe I'll try the driver's side. Let's see what happens. These things usually pop out. Okay, one of the things that the Model S is supposed to do is when you walk up, the door handle is supposed to emerge from the side of the vehicle, presenting itself, and then you just sort of touch the inside, you kind of pull it out just a little bit, and the door pops right open. That's not happening right now, and I'm not sure why. And I assure you, I do have the key in my pocket. While I was talking about the key, the door handle came out. Why did it do that? I don't know. All that key talk reminds me that I should briefly mention the key. This is one of my favorite keys in the automotive industry, not because it looks like the car, although that is kind of neat, but because that car shape isn't just a gimmick. If you want to open the front trunk, or frunk as we call it, you just push the front here. Open the back, you push the back, and then you can push the top to lock and unlock the vehicle. Oh, and it doesn't weigh more than it needs to. Sometimes car makers, to give the illusion of luxury, will make their keys needlessly heavy. Land Rover, I'm thinking about you. This isn't one of those keys. It's very light, very smooth, fits comfortably in my pocket. One of the first things that jumped out to me when sitting down is that the screen looks even larger than the last time I drove a Model S. And actually, it's no larger, but look at all this real estate. Check this out. I really have to back away from the dash to get the whole thing in frame. And then for perspective, there's my hand. It's like 2 hands worth of size. When you look around the Model S's interior, there are soft materials. What you don't get a sense of is that it is a true luxury car. The materials are fine, but you know, this isn't gonna put a Mercedes or an Audi to shame. And then you do notice little things like right down here. This lid, do you hear that? There's an awful lot of friction between the lid and the fuzzy material that's on either side. Do you think you'd find that in an Audi? I mean, maybe if it was broken, but no, you probably wouldn't. If you think you're buying a luxury car, that's not really what this is. What you're paying for is the technology and the image that comes along with that technology. The thing that Tesla has done that's so interesting is they've taken the hardware sort of out of the equation. So basically every Model S that goes out the door has roughly the same gear. Like you've got cameras and sensors that surround the vehicle, and then they just find new software-based applications for those technologies, which is really neat. So there's a new dog mode, for example. They just added that, and you can have your dog in the car, and it'll keep the interior set at a comfortable 70 degrees, and then on the big screen there, it'll let people know, oh, hey, my owner's coming back, don't worry about me. Or, for example, with the Model 3, and it'll be rolling out to the other Teslas later, they've got a new Sentry mode that if the vehicle is like jostled or somebody's trying to break in, it just starts doing 360-degree video. So whoever is breaking in, they'll have you on camera. I had an idea that I thought was a pretty good one, which is that when you go to a supercharging station, oftentimes there's a line to get onto the chargers, and it's hard to know who's in line first. I don't want to accidentally step in front of somebody, right? So if you had a Yelp-like interface where you could enter the queue for a supercharging station while you're en route, so as long as you're there by a certain time, you're in that queue. Oh, you've got 3 people ahead of you, and get here by 10:45, and then you can get in the line. You could do that entire thing via the screen and the fact that the Tesla Model S is always connected. That'd be a really great way to do that. I made that suggestion to the fine folks at Tesla. If you see that at some point in the future, I wouldn't mind a little name credit. Oh, hey, let's get ourselves on the Micah Muzio Memorial Supercharger queue. Although in that situation, I guess if it's a memorial, I'm dead. In front, I have a reasonable spot to put my arm. God knows I love an armrest. And then you can slide it back to reveal a little cup holder area where I put my medical tape for adhering the microphone to my chest. As has always been the case, there's Mercedes switchgear. If you look around, the stocks are pure Mercedes. The window switches, Mercedes. But I suppose if you're going to pull from something, pull from a premium manufacturer. Seat's reasonably comfortable. If I slide in the back, if you'd like proof that I am indeed a father, just look at what happens to a vehicle if it's been in my possession for more than 20 minutes. We've got, let's see, a package of goldfish crackers, random Kleenex on the ground, and of course the child seat, complete with adorable pink water cup. In the back, the rear seats are a little bit more vertical than I would like, and it's a completely flat floor. Let me slide in the middle spot. It's harder because there's a car seat here, but yeah, it's okay. And of course, because I'm on a bit of a riff with them these days, rear vents, so that's very much appreciated. The plastic caught my finger there. And then 2 USB outlets. Oh, and cup holders. Let's just put Pinky right there. One of my great disappointments is that Tesla, I think it was the end of last year, discontinued their rear jump seat option. So you used to be able to get the Tesla Model S with 7 seats, which when you're just trying to describe the Model S and why it's so revolutionary, there's a lot of talk about electric stuff and maybe the eccentricities that guide the company for both good or bad. But one of the things I thought was so cool was you can put 7 people in a car that'll do 0 to 60 in like 3.5 seconds or so. I thought that was such a cool concept. No longer. Then again, there's something about not putting children in the crumple zone. So maybe that was part of the logic. Or maybe it just had a very low take rate. I'm gonna have to cobble together something using simple hand tools and wood lying around the house. Hey kids, hop on the bench. Don't wanna live forever, do you? There is no such thing as a perfect car, but there are certain visual and tactile details that let you know that this is a little bit outside the mainstream. Besides, you know, little trim pieces that maybe don't perfectly align. Oh, here's one. So that's on top right there, and then as we go over here, it sort of switches and it's sticking out a little bit over here. Ah, it's catching my finger and it's sort of uneven there. If you go looking for eccentricities in the Tesla Model S, you can find them, but there's also a lot to like about the car, specifically when it's in motion. I should do that. Oh God. I opened up the back and now the Tesla's... Whew. Hey, that guy's just trying to make a video while stealing that Tesla Model S. I think it locked itself while I was in here and then I opened the door and then, well, embarrassment ensued. One last detail before I get on the road here. Cargo space is great. Powering up. Enough room for my shadow. There's the key. You got your little cargo cover here. And those seats will flip forward, though not at the moment because I've got a child seat there. This underfloor storage area is a great place to hold the charging gear. So there's your charging kit with a few adapters so you can always get this thing powered up. I could almost fit in that if I was so inclined to make a clown of myself in these videos, but I'm just too dignified for that. The Tesla Model S has been on the market for a really long time, and they've done a good job keeping it looking contemporary, but, you know, might be time for a fresh one. There we are, double tap it. Look, even more space in front. Have you frunked yourself today? I have. I know everybody wants to think of Tesla as just a hype machine, but they really are pretty clever with how they approach making cars. By having a massive screen here that's not penned in by buttons or knobs, they can update the features on an ongoing basis. This is the quick control page. You can open up the charging port here, trunk, frunk, lock. We're just gonna leave that locked. We're in one of those parks where like people just sort of mill about. You never know what they're up to. There's a guy in a windowless white van. Where do those things come from? The suspension height can be adjusted. Perhaps you have a steep driveway that you fear you might scrape. You can hit it to very high. can adjust steering modes, regenerative braking intensity, there's some autopilot controls. This is kind of a neat one. You can activate smart preconditioning, and it will learn your driving schedule and automatically get the vehicle to a comfortable temperature and ready for you by the time you arrive. You have different acceleration settings. You can have chill, sport, or ludicrous. My favorite part, if you hold the ludicrous button down, this happens. We're traveling through space and time, and there's a question here. Are you sure you want to push the limits? This will cause accelerated wear of the motor, gearbox, and battery. Yes, bring it on, or no, I want my mommy. Borrowed car from Tesla? Yes, bring it on. So it has to heat the battery for maximum performance. My understanding is this reduces 0 to 60 acceleration to like 2.5 seconds, which is, if you don't know acceleration numbers, that's blisteringly fast, supercar fast, supercar fast. The thing is, you have to heat the battery, and estimated time, 1+ hour. You won't be using that anytime soon. Nonetheless, just the basic ludicrous mode is, as described, ludicrously fast. You know what? This is so cool. When you activate the brake lights, they actually illuminate in the little gauge cluster here. Lights on, lights off. They didn't have to do that. That's like some extra programming time, I imagine, but that's just a nice little touch. There's cars coming, but I don't care because I'm in a Tesla in ludicrous mode. There's an abundance of videos showing the pure intensity of Tesla acceleration, but why not one more? All you can do is laugh. You laugh and marvel. Okay, here's my promise to you. I'm not going to make this entire video about just needlessly flooring it. However, that will be something that happens in the background. That will be the white noise of this video. A lot of needless acceleration. Like right now. Oh, with the trees behind me, can you see the change in pace? So they're evenly spaced. So watch here. Around the world, around the world. While driving, I in particular have an annoyance, which is I left foot brake. The way I do it is oftentimes I will, as I'm easing off, start adding brakes. So there's a little bit of a blending moment. Every single time I do that, the Model S makes that noise to let me know that both pedals are activated at the same time. So if I can make one more suggestion, Tesla, can you have a Micah left pedal driving mode that'll give me like a 2-second grace period before letting me know that both pedals are activated. It's a much smoother way to drive. Smooth. But eventually my brain is going to explode from that frequent da-da-da. You don't want to see that. Actually, if the cameras are running, that's a viral video in the making. As I'm coming to a stop, it's worth noting that silence is one of the defining traits of driving a Tesla. That silence means you hear more of other stuff. You'll hear a little bit more road noise, wind noise, that kind of thing. Ride quality is okay. It's not, again, it's not German luxury car plush. It's certainly manageable. I think the key to understanding the Tesla Model S is understanding the premise. The premise isn't I'm buying a luxury car. I mean, it may have luxurious traits, but the real joy in driving a Tesla is mind-blowing acceleration, a unique form factor, and the fact that you are experiencing something that most other people won't. Just do a quick bit of cornering here. Hello, good sir. That sign-holding guy was waving very politely. All right, I promise not to dwell on the acceleration thing, but I will mention that there was a merging lane, landed in front of a guy driving a Toyota Avalon, and he seemed bothered by the fact that I pulled in front of him. It wasn't a dangerous maneuver, but some people get a little bit possessive about the lane that they're in. One thing I've learned as a motorcyclist is that when people do things on the road that hinder or even endanger my life, it may have nothing to do with me. In fact, it probably has nothing to do with me. They're probably trying to go somewhere that they want to go or do something that they want to do, and I just happened to be in their way. At the same time, there are moments where you can see that sort of self-righteous aggression. So that's the trick, right? Figuring out, is this person trying to kill me, or are they just an idiot? Deadly or idiot? Actually, idiot and deadly do go hand in hand. There's a better way to word that. Better division. Intentional idiocy or unintentional idiocy. The end result can be the same, but it's good to know the motivations. Oh, Fast acceleration, ludicrous mode, able to blast around traffic and make my right turn. That's awesome. Something I really like about the Model S is the way it presents its parking information. Turning song. It's not a real song, I just made that up. You could probably tell that. Not only does it tell you with sort of like vivid, glowy graphics here, but it also tells you in actual inches. I am 28 inches away from that Toyota Tacoma. I don't think I've seen that in any other car. All right, let's go burn down some more battery life. Which reminds me, one of the challenges that I have when I drive an electric car, especially something like this, is that I don't have a home charging station yet. I could plug this into just a regular wall outlet, and then like 8 days later, it might be fully charged. It's almost not worth going to the effort of plugging it in because it's just not going to add much to the total range. I mean, let's turn here real quick. Let's see. Yeah. Pretty good amount of grip there. I would say I'm not getting a ton of feedback through the steering wheel. It's maybe more of a drag car than a track car. It is nice to know that ultimate grip is somewhat on par with its accelerative abilities. You don't want a car that's just like a 1970s muscle car where it's like all power, but then it can't stop and it can't turn. My speed was my undoing. Oh. What I need to do is I need to find a charging station. Thankfully, Tesla has like, was it 1,400 supercharger stations? It might even be more than that. A smarter man would have investigated this before speaking aloud. Verified off camera using my phone. If I hadn't told you that, you wouldn't have known. Yes, there's more than 1,400 supercharger stations and many more actual superchargers because there's multiple chargers at each station. The first time I drove a Tesla Model S, I drove it all the way to Vegas, and the supercharger infrastructure was much more limited. So I had to cover a lot of distance trying to get to where I could charge it, and it was a monster hassle. But having that infrastructure now makes the Model S and all the rest of the Tesla lineup a much more viable solution for real world transportation. Just went into the driving menu, and look, 50 minutes until the battery is heated enough to use Ludicrous Plus Mode. It truly took more than an hour of heating up the battery in order for Ludicrous Plus Mode to be available, but it is ready. And I've brought my daughter with me to help. Say hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. That's good shtick. Max battery power ready, exclamation point. And if you look in the gauge cluster, you'll notice that the little Model S that's on the screen there has changed a little bit. You can see the motors front and rear, so it's a little translucent. And then the display over here shows battery power, motor power front, motor power rear, and then longitudinal acceleration. And before anybody complains, yes, I am a professionally trained driver. No, I'm not going to break the law while driving with my daughter. And yes, my daughter loves driving fast. Do you like driving fast? Yeah. She likes driving fast. You know, and wouldn't you know it, right as soon as we have the battery all warmed up, the rain's coming down, so it's a little bit spritzy out. When was the last time you heard somebody describe rain as spritzy? Can you count me down nice and loud, sweetie?
3, 2, 1.
Oh! So that was interesting because there was some definite wheel slippage. There's a life lesson here. You can do your best, you can prepare, you can heat your battery for well over an hour, but that doesn't mean you're going to get to put it to best use. Nonetheless, this is pretty fun. Whee! All right, hands back on wheel.
No.
Yes.
No. 3, 2, 1.
Oh. As we're making our way over to a good launch spot, I will just note that there is an academic quality to the speed with which you can accelerate in Ludicrous versus Ludicrous Plus. It all just feels absolutely, well, there's only one word that could describe it. Nutty. Count me down.
3, 2, 1.
Whee! Okay. Super impressive. Ludicrous Plus Mode, I dub you adequately ludicrous. Hey, Sweet Pea, should we go a little fast or a lot fast?
A lot.
That's correct. I'm not gonna lie, I really like driving the Tesla Model S. I'm not a hyper eco warrior, but at the same time, I do recognize that electric cars are the inevitable future. With that in mind, the essence of the Model S, if I had to distill it down to just a few words, the future, today. And the future hauls ass. You know I'm getting old because my neck hurts now. Ugh. Can you say Tesla Model S?
Tesla Model S.
That's right. And we're supercharging it. Can I have a high five for helping make video? Five. Thank you, sweetie.